Okay, good morning. Now we will go on with chapter number 7, which talks about the recruitment in the field of sales companies. But today we will go on with the selection process. Now listen, this is an example of how much American sales company are calculating the cost of each salesperson, especially in the first year. Especially in the first year. So these are general statistics. So many of the companies, they are saying the compensation which we are going to pay for the employee in his first service or in his first year service, it's going to be calculated with about $35,000 US. They are saying the benefits which are entitled for this salesperson is about $7,500 US. Regarding the field expenses, they might say we are going to pay $16,000. Regarding the direct expenses, the companies will pay about $60,000 US. With the total cost or the training about $7,000, then the total cost is going to be $66,000 US. Now listen. Somebody might wonder, why we are providing you with these amounts of money? Why we are providing you with this cost? Why? Is it for fun? Is it for show? Why we are making this? Haneen?
To determine your recruiting plans. Do you want to recruit, and to make cost-benefit analysis? If those costs exceed the benefits of recruiting those people, we will not recruit them, and vice versa.
Not exactly.
For selecting, recruiting, and the planning process.
So, this means that the work which is done or performed by the HR is very essential and expensive.
Yes.
In other words, the major goal or the major responsibility over the shoulder of the HR specialist is to hire the right person in the right position. But if they are going to hire the wrong person in the right position, this means the company is going to lose over than $60,000 US for every mistake which is committed by the HR department. For every mistake which is committed by the HR department. So HR department, they must select and recruit in a very cautious way. Any mistake which might lead to hire a wrong person for a right position is going to be very expensive. It is going to be tremendous cost over the shoulder of our firm. Over the shoulder of our firm. So, we are going to talk about a survey which was distributed for purchasing agents. With this survey, after it was collected, the majority of the purchasing agents said, we are looking for specific traits in the character of the candidates whom we would like to hire as salespersons. Such traits include, number one, this person must be loyal to the customer. Number two, this person must have a willingness to defend the rights of his or her customers. Number three, this person must be detail-oriented. In other words, this person is awakened and considers all the details involved in the purchasing process. The final trait, this person must be able to follow through on promises. In other words, to be faithful. To be a word keeper or a promise keeper. So all these are some of the examples or the traits which should be available in the character of the candidates who are applying for sales positions, sales vacancies. Any question, any comments about this? Now, to demonstrate this more or to clarify it more, look at these statistics. Now, these are some of the answers or responses which we took from purchasing agents regarding the traits which they are looking for in the characters of the candidates. More than about 75% they gave trait number one, which is the candidate should have a willingness to fight for the customer's right with more than 75% responses. Other responses, they focus more on thoroughness or follow through, to be detailed oriented, with about 75%. Other responses, they focus on something called market knowledge or willingness to share, with about 50%. Others, they focus on the knowledge of the product line, diplomacy, and finally imagination. These are the major traits which were purchased or looked for by the persons who would like to hire salespersons. So the most important trait is willingness to fight and to defend the rights of the customers. And the latest one is imagination. Okay. Let's go on. Listen here. If we would like to hire salespeople, we as HR department, we are going to adopt one out of the two strategies. One out of two strategies. First, to hire technicians, or later on we are going to teach them how to sell. Is this a strategy? This is strategy number one, which is to hire technicians, or later on we will teach them how to sell. With the second strategy, to hire experienced salesperson, or later then we are going to teach them the technician or the technical skills. So this is the first strategy, or this is the second one. Somebody is going to say, which one is better? Both of them are good, or both of them can function the purpose which is designed for. But the problem or the question or the right question which we should ask, not the question which one is better, but the question is, can our sales or private company train this new candidate or not? Therefore, capability of training which is available in our company is the key factor to make the first strategy successful or to make the second strategy successful. So if you are able to train, your strategy will succeed regardless of which strategy you are following. But if your company cannot train, this is going to be problematic. It is going to be a failure strategy. Somebody is going to say, this is easy. It isn't easy. It can never be easy. Somebody is going to say, why? Number one, training is expensive. Number two, a cost or the budget of the training must be available within the budget of the firm. Number three, who are the trainers? With trainers, these trainers, they must be experienced and qualified. Look at here, Infe. Many of teachers here, for example, they are going to be excellent and good teachers. But if you are going to give them a course of training, they are going to be failure. Why? Training has more advantages and skills which are distinguishing from teaching, from learning. Once again, training has or requires more skills, more potential. These potentials and skills might not be available in an ordinary person. So if you are going to hire and recruit a trainer, the cost will increase more and more. Because of this, we are saying training capability is something which is fundamental. It is going to be the key factor to make any strategy successful or failure. Let's go on. So legality of job qualification. We are going to talk about legality of job qualification. This is reminding us with what? With the first factor, which we said it is influencing the planning process of recruitment. It was the last factor. بدك تنتبه معي هالوقت. Now, legality of job qualification. This is an umbrella. With this umbrella, it is founded on one backbone, which is number one, academic qualification. Or number two, professional experience. Well, listen here. Sometimes as HR, you might fall in a trap. What is this trap? you are going to encounter candidates who are equal in point number 1 and in point number 2. Both of them are legality of job qualification. Some of the most common mistakes might happen based on one word, which is called discrimination. Which is called discrimination. These mistakes, which might happen as a result of discrimination, might be founded on one out of these 3 reasons. Number 1, age. Number 2, sex. Or number 3, ethnicity. What's the meaning of ethnicity? Race. Now, let's clarify this. The discrimination might be founded on the age because of the following. Imagine 2 candidates. One of them, his age is about 40. The second one, his age is about 30. Both of them, they are equal in the academic qualification and professional experience. Many of the employers, they are going to employ or hire the young candidate whose age is why? He is going to be more active, more vital, and he is going to carry more work pressure and workload than the candidate whose age is 40. Is this discrimination? Yes, it is discrimination. A second, the employment might be founded or biased according to the sex. The female and the male. Employers might say, if the male and the female candidates are equal in experiences and academic qualification, they will say we prefer to hire the male. Because this person isn't going to have a maternity leave. This person isn't going to suffer from pregnancy consequences and so on. Therefore, he is going to be in his job all the time throughout the 12 months of the year. Is this discrimination? Yes, it is discrimination. And sometimes the discrimination might happen as a result of ethnicity. In America, we are talking about 3 major ethnicities or races. The white, the black, listen here. If you would like to communicate with Americans, don't use the word black. Use the word African American. African American, it is more polite structure. Don't ever call somebody black. If you are going to say black, somebody is going to smell from your words that you are racist. فاهميني? Yes. So all the time use African American. With the third ethnicity, we called it Hispanic. Yes. Well, Hispanic, they are the Latinos. The Latinos who came from Mexico and Southern America continent. They immigrated to America, they made families over there, and now they are American citizens. Now, if the employer is white, and the 2 candidates, one of them is white and the second is African American, he might choose the white one. If the employer is African American, with 2 candidates, one of them is African American and the second is Latino, he might prefer the African American. So this is a discrimination. Or they are not allowed according to the law of law or law of employment, or according to the religion, and also according to ethics. If we would like to apply this in the Palestinian context, this is applicable, this is applicable, this isn't applicable. Because all the Palestinians, they are belonging to the same ethnicity. Its equivalent is going to be this one. Excellent. Affiliation. الانتماء السياسي. Political affiliation. So the political affiliation, does it matter? Yes, it matters. Some of the organizations, they are taking decisions of hiring based on discriminatory basis. Once again, this is considered to be what? Illegal, or discrimination, or unethical, or irreligious. Or irreligious. So if you are going to work as HR, don't fall in the trap, which is called, which is as a result of equity or between academic qualifications and professional experiences. This is something very dangerous. Clear? Go on. Now listen. Now let's ask another question. This another question is the following. Imagine we are going to have, or your boss or supervisor or the director of the firm found you and he told you you are working as the HR specialist in this firm. he told you or she told you, and we have 10 vacancies. We have 10 vacancies. Which you're responsible as HR department to fill these 10 vacancies. Now we are going to ask one major question, which is, read.
How many recruits?
How many applicants should we attract? This is a big question. Should we attract 11? Should we attract 12? Should we attract 100? Should we attract 1,000? Should we attract 200? And so on. So the number is something very important. Let's give example. If you are going to attract 12 candidates, God knows somebody might fail in the test. Another body might fail in the interview. Or a third body might be unqualified. Or his unqualification might be determined while we are screening out his or her application. Or a fourth might decline your offer.
Yeah.
So in this way, 4 withdraw out from 12. Then what is left is 8. So we filled 8 vacancies out of 10. And 2 are still vacant. طيب, do you want me to retain or to reverse what we did with the second 2 vacancies?
No.
Is this logical?
No.
Is this economical? Is this feasible? No. Of course not. طيب, should I hire or attract 100? Also no. 1,000?
No.
200?
No.
Yes. أقول لك ليش yes. Because we have a formula. Well, this formula is founded on logic and mathematical equations. What the formula is saying, all the time, if we would like to identify the number of the applicants whom we should attract, we should follow through this formula. The formula is saying the number of the recruits. We abbreviated this by R, which refers to recruits, equals H divided by S multiplied by A. Now, H, it is referring to required number of hires. Required number of hires, which are the vacancies. Which are the vacancies. S, it refers to the percentage of the recruits selected. Those persons whom we would like to select to occupy the vacancies. Will A, it refers to the percentage of those selected who accept the offer. Because some candidates, some successful candidates, they might decline your offers. Why? Because of the salary, because of the number of the holidays, because of the working hours, and so on. So all these things must be plugged into a certain formula to determine the number of the applicants whom we should attract according to the specific number of vacancies. Imagine, if the company needs to hire 10 people, 10 people mean 10 vacancies, which means H. Then, and expects to select 10% of those applying, and if 50% of those offered of the job accept, then plug the formula, well, the answer is going to be 10 divided by 10% multiplied by 50, which equals 200 applications we should attract and recruit before we begin the process of recruitment. Because of this, we said 200 is correct. Any question or comments about this? This is very important. This is very important. What might be in the final. Why I'm encouraging you all the time to bring your calculator in the final. Bring your calculator in the final exam. Okay? Go on. Listen here. Now, we would like to talk about now the recruitment process. How we should initiate our recruitment process. By one word, which is called ads, advertisements. In other words, we are referring to the process of read. Exactly, announcement. To inform the public that we have vacancies and we need to fill them. These announcements are various. they might happen or they might be displayed electronically, and sometimes they might be displayed manually. If it is manual, we are going to talk about journals, we are going to talk about the newspaper. If it is electronic, we are going to talk about the webs. In America, we have very famous webs for advertisements, like Journal or Wall Street Journal, employment related to websites and etc. One of the most famous American websites for employment is monster.com. Monster.com. Well, monster.com, if you are going to visit it, it is listing down all the vacancies in the 50 states of America. In the 50 states, which is up to date, which is comprehensive. Now, we are talking about country Palestine. The most famous website for recruitment is jobs.ps. This is the most famous one. I think job.ps. Not jobs.ps, yes. Jobs.ps. Also, we have another famous website which is called juber.ps. These are the most common and famous websites which are listing down all the vacancies in West Bank and Gaza and Jerusalem, and it is up-to-date every single minute. It includes every kind of job, regardless of its category. Why I'm encouraging you, because you are about to graduate, I'm encouraging you to keep them down, keep them on the favorites on your desktop or laptop, or visit them regularly from time to time. They are very important. By the way, in my actual life, I hunted down more than 2 jobs by skimming these websites. They are very important. Okay? Now go on. Also, we would like to talk about the classified ads. The classified ads, it means advertisements which are going to be classified according to their nature and so on. They have advantages. Advantages like what? Reaches wide audience. Second, use of high turnover. Third, tend to overproduce underqualified candidates. Classified ads, advertisements of jobs which are relating to specific field of professions. If you are looking for engineers, you are going to find the classified ads in, for example, engineering journals, engineering sites, engineering organization. Also, sometimes you can attract the employees from your present employees now. How? Familiar with the company products. Second, they are going to establish job histories. Third, sales as a promotion, not require a lot of training because they know us. And finally, over rely on a previous experience. Somebody is going to say, how I am going to rehire a current employee now? Okay.
Over time.
Okay, and sometimes
Another job. 2 shifts.
promotion. Now listen, انت معي. Japanese, they are addicted to hire and to promote their current employees, especially if these positions are seniors. They prefer priority number 1 is given for the current employees who are working now inside the organizations. The Americans and the westernized firms, they prefer to produce or to pump a new blood. Therefore, their employment is going to be external rather than internal. But the Japanese, they prefer the internal jobs, especially for the most important and senior positions. So in this case, if you are going to rehire present employees, this means we are implementing promotions and we are imitating the Japanese styles, which is enjoying more than one advantages or characteristics, like these ones. Any question or comments? Go on. Sometimes also we can recruit candidates. How? By contacting referrals or networking, whom they are familiar with the character of these candidates, or they know they are fitting for these positions. So we are going to contact them. Reference mean a person who already used to work with this candidate. A person who knows that this person can function and can fulfill the responsibilities of the current position. طب خد لك هالسيناريو. Tell me how you are going to act as HR. Imagine a man, she applied for us with her CV. She is mentioning 3 referrals whom she knows or whom they know her or they already worked with her. As HR, should we be satisfied by the current referrals whom she is going to provide to us in our or in her CV? The answer is no. Why? Because all the time the applicant or the candidate is going to provide you with 3 referrals who are going to talk positively on behalf of him or her. طب what should we do? How?
Previous job.
How? By adopting the technique which is called snowball. How? Yes. If a man is mentioning, for example, that Amna is one of her referral, we are going to pick up the phone and we are going to contact Amna. Amna, how are you, etc., etc. Do you know a candidate whose name is Iman, etc.? How do you know her? What were her responsibilities? How do you think of her character? And so on. And before closing the conversation with her, Amna, would you mind to provide us with another name who used to work with Amani or Iman? She is going to provide us with a new referral along with his or her phone number that is interested in her CV. If the new statement from the new referral confirmed the answer of Amna, this means that she is in the safe ground. But if the new statement isn't matching with the statement of Amna, then a red flag must be raised, which means we need to search more and more. That's it. Clear? Any question, any comments about that? This is very important. Don't ever be satisfied by the statements which you are going to get from the referrals who are listed in the CV of the candidate. Clear? One thing which is important. All the time remember, هذا كلام بذكركم لما طوشنا معكم في العلامات. Your GPA, your transcript, your certificate, your score in the job test, your score in the job interview does not reveal the character of the candidate. Because of this, you as HR, all these things, sometimes they might be misleading. Sometimes they might be misleading. Because of this, we have to dig in the character of this candidate. We have to dig in the character of this candidate. How? By a good referral check. By a good referral check. Okay. Employment agencies, sometimes we might not attract candidates. Who are going to attract the candidates? Employment agencies. When we can depend on this technique, if our firm is small and we do not have HR department. If our firm is small and we do not have HR department, then we are going to sign a private contract with an independent employment agency to find the right person for the right position in our own company. This technique is very widely applicable in the Gulf states and in America. But here in Palestine we do not follow it. A third technique, school and colleges. How? By something called internship. Well, internship, listen. This is American program which is now applicable in all universities and colleges worldwide. For example, in our college and in your department, in the 4th year, you are going to spend 1 semester training. In the training, it is going to be a nice opportunity by which a realistic company in the real labor market offering you opportunity to train. Here, we are talking about win-win situation. You as a trainee and graduate, you are going to get a new experience. You are going to know exactly what is the actual reality which is available in the market labor or labor market. On the other hand, the company will benefit from you. How? They are going to do extra work with minimal cost. صح? Because of this, I am encouraging you to be smart in selecting the nice location or the firm or the company where you are going to spend your training. To spend the training in a specific company or organization might open the door for you to get a permanent job after your graduation. Many of the employers, they are going to say, we would like to employ her. Why? Number one, she lived with us for about 4 months and we know each other very good way. Number two, she is competent and she mastered the system. Number three, she understands us and she is going to save us too much of time and too much of training efforts. Because of this, this is going to open you a very strong opportunity to hunt and to get a job after your training finished. Clear? Therefore, be smart for selecting the organization which you would like to train in. All the time, try to demonstrate yourself in your training period. Any question, any comments? I am not speaking or talking hypothetically. I can provide you with 10 and 10 of successful stories where student graduates, they were able to hunt down jobs using their training period in this organization. ماشي؟ طيب, let's go to customer. تقولون لحالكم في الدار. Let's go on to something else. This is read it at your home. Look at this. This is a roadmap for how we are going to build our recruitment process. Our recruitment process all the time, it begins by advertisement. Well, advertisement is going to provide us with control location and phone number. Why? For further inquiries or questions about the job. Second, we are going to talk about the bank application, which must be fulfilled by candidates. Later on, after we are going to look at the application, we are going to screen them down. Screening means who is qualified and who is unqualified. The qualified are going to be interviewed. Later on, we are going to check credit and background. We talked about checking background. But let's talk about credit because we didn't mention anything. This is American style. In our Palestinian Islamic culture, it isn't applicable here. Somebody is going to say why. I'm going to tell you why. No, listen. In America, their culture and their education, for example, the American is going to have a salary of about $7,000 or $10,000 per month on the first day of the month. Later on, when the month reached the 30th day, his bucket is going to be bankrupt without any penny. Somebody is going to say why. They do not have the culture of saving. They do not have the famous Arabic proverb, القرش الأبيض ينفع في اليوم الأسود. They have one proverb which is اصرف ما في الجيب يأتيك ما في الغيب. They do not save. If we are going to compare the Americans with the Japanese and the Chinese, they are different. The Japanese and the Chinese, they are similar to us. They believe in the culture of saving. Therefore, the American, even if they are employed, if they would like to purchase a car or if they would like to get married or if they would like to buy a house, they are going to need what? A loan. Well, loan is going to come from the bank. Well, this is going to be reflected by his or her credit history. The credit history and the loan, all of them, they are connected with one word, which is called social security number. With social security number in America, it is equivalent to what we have here, which is ID number. There, the employer is going to have a specific database related to credit history, where he is going to plug his social security number along with the name of the candidates. If the history shows, of course, all the histories, they are going to include what? Loan histories. This is their culture. But they will distinguish if you are committed to pay back your credit or loans or not. If not, they will say this person cannot organize his personal life. So how should we expect he's going to organize his professional work in our company? Therefore, they are going to delete him or her from the candidacy. In contrast with the Americans who are paying regularly their own credits and loans. Clear? Clear? Now, somebody is going to say, but this is personal data. No. According to the American law, this isn't personal data. This is the rights of the employer. The right of the employer must check if the financial conditions of the candidates are healthy or unhealthy, good or bad, organized or unorganized, and so on. Okay? Now, after they are going to pass this barrier of the checking background, we are going to look at the complete psychological and achievement test. This isn't applicable here. What is applicable is test. With test all the time, it comes before the interview. This is in our culture. This is in our culture. Well, later on, we are going to make a secondary interview. Somebody is going to say, why we need to make extra secondary interview? If the members of the interviewers do not have a collective decision. أظن collective decision.
Final decision.
Final decision. قرار جماعي. In other words, 2 interviewers said we need this person, or a third said no. Or 2 said we do not need him, or a third said we need them. Then we would like to be sure, we would like to notify our decision now by inviting the candidate for extra final day interview, which is called secondary. Well, later on, we are going to make the offer of employment, and then we are going to make physical examination. Well, physical examination is something very important.
Yes.
Now listen, Palestinian private companies, more than 90% of the companies, they are not making a strict physical examination for the candidates. Well, this is a fatal mistake. We explained this last time. Therefore, you must insist on subjecting all the candidates on a strict physical examination. And finally, we are, or the options are wide. Sometimes any failure in one out of the previous steps might lead to rejection. Or sometimes we are going to lead him and hire him or her. So this is the roadmap for selection. Final thing, let's repeat what we said. Application. Why we need application? To get one thing, which is read information. So everybody, every candidate who would like to apply for any position, he or she must apply or must fill application. The application includes what? Information. Information is required by what? Management. We are talking about 2 kinds of information. Number 1, we called it education background. Number 2, we called it employment record. These are the most important things which we are looking for. These are the 2 important kinds of the information which we are looking for in the application. Final word, final advice. So this is very important. Listen. More than 50% of the candidates, they are going to lie while they are filling in their working application. They are going to lie. They are not going to say the truth. Why? For various reasons. Then, as HR, how we are going to reveal if they are honest or dishonest? By trying to ask them questions based on the application and the data which they filled before.
Yeah.
If their answers are systematic, معناته they are honest. If their answers are unsystematic, معناته unhonest or dishonest. So, your advice is the following. When you are going to fill an application to apply for a job, before you are going to be invited to an interview, please read the application once again. Read your application before you are going to pass your working interview.
Yes.
More than 50% of the questions, they will be repeated once again in the interview. Later on, interviewers, they will compare the answers which they listened from you and which they read in your application. If they are matching, then you are going to give them the impression you are honest. If they are not matching, معناته you are dishonest. فاهميني? This is very important. See you next time.